Well, Colby, we had the great Norm Hitzkus and the great Evan Grant on earlier. And we're going to transition to somebody of greater importance. I believe you called him, when you introed the show earlier, your greatest hero in broadcasting. Is that what you said?
No, I said the guy that I would most emulate if I wasn't already me.
And it would be Gavin the General Dawson from
right.
105.3 The Fan. Do you have us, General?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
We got you loud and clear. Welcome to the show. First time, long time.
Man, what is up with you guys, dude? It's an honor to be with you. I've watched you guys grow this show. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. It's always good. Anytime Colby needs anything, I'm on it. You know, I have so much respect for both of you guys, though, and it's an honor to be on. Thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you. That's high praise from the master himself over here.
Well, you'll have to tune into the opening of the show because that's where I kissed your ass all the time. So there you go.
I know how to do that.
I'll cut it up and I'll email it to you so you don't have to go find it.
Thank you, sir. I'll get him nominated for GBag of the day.
Oh, there it is. Golly, what an honor that would be.
I mean, I've been there a few times.
You have?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
I'm just riding the coattails of Colby. That's all I ever do.
Shots fired. Yes, dude.
So great. So Gavin, we wanted to have you on. We've been talking about it for a long time, to be quite honest, because occasionally the subject of soccer will come up on the show.
Okay.
Or as fans say, football. But it's hard for me to say. It's like peanut butter in my mouth. And Colby, Colby knows a lot more than I do. And I'll be
just not a lot, by the way. It's not a lot, but I hold a little bit more respect for it than
I'm trying, dude.
Than shut down Tim. You crapped on an entire bar because they were watching soccer. You literally almost got thrown out
Twice.
Yes.
2 separate bars.
Yes.
All right, look, Gavin, I will give you a real quick rundown of my soccer history. Soccer is, so when I worked at the Ticket, on a motorsports show, by the way, I may have drunkenly referred to soccer that it's not a sport, it's an activity.
Okay.
And again, management didn't give a crap, but this was the year of the World Cup here in 94. And the Latino community that heard the show and listened to the station pretty much got me fired.
Right.
And rightfully so. I get
that.
Look, yeah, we did our show on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 over there at the Little Ticket back in the day. And there was a lot of liquor consumed because there wasn't anybody else at the station.
Yes, that'll happen.
Yeah, so I
might
have had a few drinks, and anyway, that's my background, right? So that's how everyone knows me. But look, things we don't understand, we make fun of, right? That's
exactly. Yeah.
I'm like a 14-year-old girl because that's what I do.
Mark.
So I thought, you know what, Colby, let's get Gavin on because I don't know anybody that knows soccer more than you. And I wanted to offer you a platform because, dude, on his own fucking show, he only is allowed 60 seconds to talk about soccer.
60 seconds on soccer.
I'm like, you know what? Let's give him 20 minutes or however long he wants to go on with this thing. We were in the show at 9, by the way. So,
well, I could do more than 60 seconds on soccer, but 60 is how it started under the legendary program director, Tom Bigby, who did not want me to talk about soccer on a day in 2010 when the U.S. had just had maybe their biggest win ever in a World Cup and definitely their most dramatic win ever. So we still do hold on to 60, but current program director Gavin Spittle is actually pro soccer. And I bet as the World Cup approaches, we'll actually maybe do a full 6 minutes. Maybe that's how we could grow it. But
wow.
I mean, I'm surprised you got fired for that, Tim. Trolling soccer has been the go-to move for sports radio people. I think for 3+ decades.
Oh, for sure. But I might've been the original. I might've been what started that.
Yeah, no doubt.
But look, we just had the Copa América. Did I say that right?
You're close.
And the Euro.
Okay. Well, see, and look, this is what confused me because I guess we had 2 tournament things going on at the same time. And I thought they were all the same. I didn't know.
Yeah, they were going on at the same time on the same network.
See, exactly. That was confusing for me. It's like having the XFL, the USFL, the whatever, all at the same time, all on Fox or something. I have no idea what's going on. So last night I walk into my favorite bar, Tailgaters in Frisco, expecting to watch the Major League Baseball draft. Because earlier in the day, I saw Spain beat England, right? Like, cool. Yeah. It's over. The whole thing's over. I don't have to go into a bar and watch soccer. But no, dude, I walk in and there's freaking Argentina jerseys everywhere. And of course, soccer's on, the sound is on. Anyway, I made friends with some very nice soccer fans who bought me a shit ton of shots.
Nice.
And that might have been when I texted you last night. I might have I told Colby, dude, I drunk texted Dawson. Told him to come on the show.
I couldn't detect it in the text.
God, thank you. Maybe those chicks didn't either. But look, I want to talk about that. And I'll tell you, I do have a direct message from the great Norm Hitzkiss for you. Because when I recorded his interview with Evan Grant this morning, I said, we're going to have Dawson on to talk soccer because they were talking a little bit of soccer before we recorded the interview. And he goes, okay, ask him this. If that fiasco at Hard Rock Stadium last night, the security breach, the people sneaking in, the injuries, blah, blah, blah. He goes, ask him if that's going to have any effect on any of the venues for the World Cup coming up in 2026. Is that going to have any bearing on them changing things?
Well, first of all, salute to the great Norm Hitzkiss. The airwaves will never be the same without him. I don't think I ever met a classier dude or a more passionate dude about sports. And it's an honor to have him even consider me in a sports conversation. Sure. To me, what happened last night is very unfortunate, but they're used to it around the globe a lot. That's kind of a thing that happens at most big sporting events that are going to be sold out, at least for soccer. Guys climbing, idiots, pushing people and endangering children, which was traumatic for me to witness myself. I can't imagine what some of those parents were going through as they're running around looking for their kids or trying to hoist their kids to safety. It's definitely not something that I just want to gloss over and say it's fine. It happens everywhere. But here's the thing to know. FIFA has a lot more resources and they have a lot more experience dealing with this kind of crowd control. I would think that maybe it's a blessing that you got that last night without more damage being done. It's a black eye on the sport, black eye for American soccer. But I think FIFA will be prepared for it. If the Copa América organizers thought, well, it's the U.S., their security will be there. The fans will be more respectful. It's on American soil, this, that, and the other thing. No, I think, to me, it was kind of like maybe America has arrived as a soccer venue just a little bit more last night. And I do think it will impact because you can't let that happen again. And you can't let that happen repeatedly here in the U.S. I think we're all, pretty used to a reasonable amount of safety when we get there. And I imagine a lot of those fans paid a lot of money for premium tickets, and were squeezed out by hooligans or thieves or whatever you want to call them.
Now, when you mentioned FIFA and you put in the glowing remark, they're used to this. They'll have a better shot at trying to fix this. I think that is the first time I've ever heard somebody talk about the organization FIFA and then go, this is what they do good. Because everything that I've heard is like, well, FIFA screws things up. Am I just listening to the wrong and the bad part of the conversation, or is maybe I just hearing what I only want to hear? Is FIFA as an organization, I always hear of that they're just takers more than there are anything else, but they can handle these security situations.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Colby, because I think in general, FIFA has a bad reputation around the globe, and for a lot of things they should. But that more comes into the area of bribes.
Okay.
Misappropriating funds that I would not trust them for, but crowd control, making sure things are safe, massive events, that's where they will shine, because that comes down to protecting sponsors, protecting the bag. Now you get a president in there that likes $500 million handshakes. Crazy stuff has happened to FIFA in terms of that kind of impropriety. Mm-hmm. But they've done a great job cleaning up the sport since decades ago, since the days of the Eastern European and English soccer hooligans. They've really tried to make a strong move to make it as family friendly as possible.
Now, me and Tim were kicking around the idea because he had heard, as he had talked to a couple of soccer fans, and about the American squad, as they have not looked good. And to my untrained eye, it just looked like the flow was off and they weren't able to get anything going the way they needed to go. And the idea that they could, change coaches. And now I'm not ear to the ground news. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if anything's happened in that front yet, but Is that something that should happen, or I've heard from some people that it's too late into the process to change coaches? What's the ideology behind that? Because we've got a good bit to go before we end up in where this team's headed next.
Well, that's a great question, Colby. Now he has been dismissed. Let me lead with that.
I did not know that.
All
Breaking news late last week, I believe. A lot going on in the news cycle, so no doubt it was an easy one to miss. But this has been a real mofo for soccer fans. I mean, Beerhalter's brother was essentially in charge of the U.S. Soccer Federation. That's how he got to the last World Cup. Like, even before the World Cup 2 years ago, there were people like, how is Beerhalter still in charge? We need to end this. Then the massive disappointment in the World Cup. Then this, Copa América disappointment finally pushed it over the edge. But after World Cup, they kind of like dismissed him, did a search, and then still brought his ass back. And it's incredibly frustrating. Like, coach, manager is maybe more important in soccer than any other sport, because you're trying to, agree to a collective team strategy with individuals who are out there that you don't get to stop the play and call plays for. You got to build out everything, prepare, make chemistry, and then turn them loose and let them go for 90 minutes. And for a long time in American soccer, when I was growing up, and some of our best successes have been playing a defensive counterattack style. We're great athletes. We might not necessarily be the most skilled soccer players or have the best sophistication when it comes to our passing game, anticipation, soccer IQ. And that strategy allowed us to have a tremendous amount of international success, relative to what we are and who we are. Since Klinsmann took over, Jurgen Klinsmann, a great German player before Beerhalter, they have tried to make it beautiful like they play in Brazil or Spain or Argentina or the Netherlands. And it's just not who we are. We're not technical enough. We're not skilled enough to play that style. I appreciate them swinging for the fences, but in order to do something like that, you're talking about like soccer culture. You're talking about, changing the way that we engage with the sport from a very young age, and something that might take, decades to see through, if it's even possible. So I love that Beerhalter is gone, and it gives us a chance to get a more results-oriented coach as compared to like trying to become the next Spain. I just thought that was way too lofty.
So we need to junk it up, right?
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
I mean,
play defense, run the ball, hope for a big play over the top.
Would Mahomes help that team at all, you think?
I wouldn't be surprised, dude, seeing some of his recruiting stats on when he was recruited to be a pitcher. Yeah, this dude could be like starting in the All-Star game tomorrow night in Major League Baseball if he'd seen that throw. I wouldn't put anything past Patty.
Dawson, a couple of days a week, I do Tampa radio for 102.5 The Strike out in Tampa, St. Pete, and there's some rabid soccer fans out there. So that's where I kind of have, we take a lot of calls, especially with the Copa América thing going and the Euro, whatever it was that you mentioned. I kind of tune out when the callers call in. I let my partner take care of that, but
nice.
But they're
it's a great soccer market. Tampa, Texas, California, Ohio, New Jersey.
No, and they're pretty passionate too about it over there. And I hear all I hear is from the callers over there is that for some reason Americans just cannot compete on the pitch. And I don't,
for you.
Right? Did I get it right?
Good for you.
Sweet. Score. Might get laid tonight now. But is there a reason why? Is it because there's so many other sports here for kids to play? I mean, there's other sports in Brazil that they play, right? Like, I mean, it's not just, or is it just soccer all the time everywhere else in the world? But kids are distracted here in America, so that soccer's not really a focus. I mean, I had a ton of friends in high school that played soccer that went to play collegiately, but I don't because I don't understand. Like, I get that it's a great game and I understand it, but for some reason it just seems like it's not a priority in America like it is in other countries where they excel more, and therefore the Americans just can't compete.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot to be said about the passion level, and how all encompassing that experience is, for some players here even, and we're doing a great job now producing world-class level players. Christian Pulisic, though, check this out. His dad, Christian Pulisic's our best player. Okay. His dad played semi-pro and pro in Brazil. Growing up in New Jersey, one of our hotbeds, Christian Pulisic's dad had a lot of his buddies move up to America, right? They were working together doing separate projects. Christian Pulisic's childhood was hanging out in the backyard with his dad and a bunch of cool Brazilian soccer players, okay? And he was obsessed with it, taking the ball everywhere with it. Now you turn on a TV and you see him playing for AC Milan in Italy. Tens of thousands of Italians are chanting his name. They have a dozen songs that they've written about him and sing to him. So individually, we can do it. There's a number of players, who are around his level of expertise. Weston McKinney, a guy from right here in Dallas-Fort Worth, is another very high-level player. The problem is we don't have the entire country doing that, we don't have the great coaches like his dad was and his dad's buddies were to be that guiding hand. So if you look at the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic, you know how he sees the entire field or the entire court and is a danger to score, to shoot, to pass, to dribble, whatever the game might be asking him to do at that time. You have a bunch of other guys running around on the court who, are good at the game of basketball, but compared to a Luka or a Kobe, there's just like another level of awareness and skill level. And, I would say like Luka would represent Germany, Italy, whatever, if we were, comparing him to nations. And, we just, we're not there. We're like, a Spencer Dinwiddie or something. And I think it's going to take a number of years for that next generation growing up to become as passionate. When I was growing up, we didn't have any games on TV. Me and my brother had some VHS tapes of former World Cup games, and that's how we would watch soccer on TV. And then right around the 2000s, that changed. So there's no mistaking the fact that now you have kids that are 23, 24, 25 years old that got to grow up watching the game, seeing the passion of the game, falling in love with the game, are now arriving. But to my point about beer halter and the appropriate strategy, we need to learn how to bring all of that together. Right now, we, can do a lot of the skills, but it's how everything moves together and how to exploit and create space that's, separating us from maybe the top 15 teams in the world.
Some of my fondest memories, Gavin, you may appreciate this, was from around 1990. When me and my roommate moved into an apartment together. We couldn't afford cable. We had rabbit ears. We got like 2 channels, and one of them was Spanish. It was like Telemundo or Univision, whatever it was, on channel 23. And all they showed was like soccer games in the evenings, right? And one player, of course, we couldn't understand the announcers or anything, but we'd sit there and drink beer and watch it because that's all we had. Yeah. And one of the players on the field was this skinny little white guy that was running around with a big red afro. And we didn't know what to call him, so we just called him Fro. Yeah. Hey, man, Fro's on. Go grab some beer. Let's sit down and watch Fro. Dude, it was Alexi Lawless.
Yeah, and he's turned into a better commentator than he was a player. But, yeah, he's
on Fox, right? He does the Fox studio show, right?
Yeah, and he was the starting center back for the 1994 World Cup team that I think brought a lot of Americans into, watching soccer on TV for the first time.
Pretty funny, though. I love me some Alexi Lawless. I can name drop. See, Colby?
You sure did.
And tattoo?
You called it the pitch? Yeah, that's your go-to, though. That's your crutch soccer player. As soon as anything comes up soccer, he's like, yeah, tattoo.
The greatest indoor soccer player of all time, tattoo.
He's a hell of a coach, too. He is a great youth soccer coach now.
Love me some tattoo. Reunion Arena, 1987.
So with all that going on with the American team, is there any hope that we can have something? It's too early. It's not enough time, right, for them to put something together that we can actually cheer for coming up in the World Cup.
Well, I think in the context of trying to win a championship, a World Cup championship, that's too much. But I think the World Cup was 04, 06, somewhere in there. We beat Mexico in the round of 16. We had the equalizer against Italy that was called back in the quarterfinals, right? So we were just a sea hair away from doing something special. Like even making the quarterfinals, I think would be massive success. This team is capable of that. You need the right manager. Back then, we played an ugly smash mouth form of soccer, but it worked for where we were. And I think if we go back to prioritizing that, 2 years is definitely enough time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we got a goal to shoot for now, Tim.
All right. I may go to some games then. And I was at the 94 Cotton Bowl for some games. I was covering it back then. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Gavin Dawson, 105.3 The Fan, GBag Nation, weekdays 2 to 7 here over there with Broadus and Chiafolo and Wolchuk and Lucius and who am I missing? I think I got everybody, right?
I think you did get everybody.
But Gavin, you're also doing some crypto stuff. And Colby and I sometimes delve into crypto. Okay. And I'm like, you know what?
The show?
What is a crypto? I don't even know what a crypto is.
I've tried explaining this to this is one of the beatdowns of my life. Well, explaining anything to Tim is pretty much a beatdown of my life. But trying to explain what crypto is, and this may be something that, of course, by the way, I mean, it's Dawson Crypto. He's got it in it.
Right, exactly.
Tag,
Exactly.
So if trying to explain that to Tim, this is going to take longer than I think what Gavin really wants to do.
No, I didn't want him to explain crypto. I just wanted him to plug his show.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's all I was going to ask. Is you got a great YouTube channel with the crypto. Tell the folks how to find it and what you do.
Yeah, I teamed up with this dude in Waco named Tex, and we come on most days at The Real Ada Boys on YouTube, at The Real Ada Boys on YouTube. You know, there's a lot of different crypto ecosystems, different blockchains and stuff, Ethereum, Bitcoin, so on and so forth. And so we're over in our little niche, and we talk about the stories of the day that are happening there, and you know how to try to find that next Dogecoin.
Well, we'll make sure we blast that out and get you some followers.
I do have a small crypto question here, Gavin. Just real quick, General. Is the Pi network, is that a scam where they like mine it on your phone? Because it keeps popping up a little bit in Coinbase, like it could pop up for real. And I'm just a question if you know anything about that.
I can tell you I've mined Pi on a couple of different occasions on my phone, and I did the verification to get it transferred to the main net and all that. But I'm not totally sure, you know. It's really interesting business model they have there that's unique. So I've always kind of been into it thinking, well, it's only about 20 seconds per day and I'm doing this and I'm doing a couple of tasks. And if it pays off, maybe it'll really pay off. But I think that's how a lot of cryptocurrencies are. Right.
And I've actually got the same network that I've been doing for about 4 or 5 years on it. So yeah, no, I've just kept going with it, but I was like, you know what, you would know. So I'm right there with you. It's just, it takes me a little bit every day just to go, yeah, go ahead, do it.
I filled up a 50-cent paper roll of pennies the other day at my bathroom.
Is that
not what that is?
Something tells me that Tim enjoys trolling you on this one a little bit.
Yeah, a lot, actually, a lot.
It's all in good fun.
It's so difficult to not become over-explainer guy when you're talking crypto. I'm just like, man, let me try to keep my answers short before I see the eyes glaze over.
Right. No, and they immediately glaze over because he can't hold it in his little sausage hands.
It can't fit in my pocket. I don't know if it's even real, right? Well, Gavin, we appreciate you spending your valuable time. You got a great family over there. We hate to take you any time away from that for you. You're great at what you do. We're privileged to call you a buddy and call you a friend, and we'd love to have you back on the show anytime your schedule allows.
You guys are kicking ass and taking names, and you just say when.
Appreciate you, brother.
And I'll join you.
There he goes. Gavin Dawson, 105.3 The Fan, GBag Nation.
Salute. You see him, beer him, NA.
Wow, Colby, we just had Dawson on.
We sure did. That dude's awesome.
I can just listen to him talk like all day, as long as it's about something I like. I just don't get it sometimes, man.
Well, you don't get it a lot of times.
I don't. I'm just okay. I'm okay with that.
I'm not. I wish you'd get some things.